Welcome back to this afternoon session of the Africa and Climate Change Forum, Roadmap to COP27. And we appreciate that we have had a full day, an hour and a half of this session and great sessions as well here, speaking about really looking at the future of what exactly needs to be happening now. Today has been amazing, and we started off by talking about climate smart agriculture in Africa. Then we went to the Green Climate Fund, and now we also had some presentations courtesy of E+, EcoSave, and as well as KEDA Gap Group. And this is now the afternoon session that we'll be waiting for, and we'll be talking about clean action, and later on as well, get some other presentation. But for now, the panel discussion that we're going to have and presentation is about climate research, governance, and accountability in Africa. And joining us will be the Kenya Red Cross, Oscar Lino, who is here with me presently, and as well as Lois Wangoi from the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Lois is going to speak to us virtually, and she's already there. And I want to give her her first few minutes to tell us what are they doing, especially with regards to this particular subject, especially on matters governance and the overall look at climate change and what they are pushing as an agenda. Lois, welcome, and please go ahead.
Thank you, Maina, and good afternoon. I hope you can hear me.
Absolutely. Good afternoon.
Thank you. And thank you for this opportunity for me to just highlight what the Nairobi Securities Exchange is doing in this critical area of climate change and our input. So first and foremost, the Nairobi Securities Exchange is a member of the Sustainable Stock Exchanges. And with that, we have a mandate to actually drive change and sustainability, particularly for our listed companies. What we have seen is that climate risk or climate change risk is one of the major risks affecting livelihoods, the economy, as well as our companies or organizations, as it were. And what we deciphered from that is that the magnitude of the future impact of climate change risk will only be mitigated by the actions we take now. And that would start with the governance aspect of it, where the discussions about climate risks, and in particular, in general, environmental risks, should sit at the board level. So we are advocating that listed and unlisted companies understand what these risks are and put in place mitigations or risk management frameworks that can address these kind of risks. As the Nsc, we have gone ahead to put out what we are calling an Esg Disclosure Guidance Manual. It's a how-to document, and it's available on the Nsc website, how companies listed and unlisted can start their journey for sustainability, particularly building strategies around ESG risks and building their ambitions to be sustainable organizations. With that in mind, when we come to accountability, which we are talking about here, we are advocating for disclosure. Disclosure on what a firm is doing around climate, as well as general environmental matters, as well as social and governance matters, through the issuance of a sustainability report or integrated report. Through these disclosures, then the discussions and what a company is doing will be publicly available for verification. And this will address some of the issues and start building the journey or the building blocks towards a sustainable future. So as an exchange, we are cognizant of the voices that were raised at COP26, and now as we go to COP27, those voices are still loud in our heads. And I think the bottom line is to get our companies started, organizations, as individuals, as firms, and this we cannot do alone. So we are working together with the national government, that is the National Treasury, as well as academia, universities. We have partnered with universities, as well as even other NGOs and other development finance institutions that can help us champion this more through capacity building, because what is critical is for people to understand the magnitude of climate change risk and actually take measures to address that. I think I cannot finish without saying that as the Nairobi Stock Exchange, we are championing sustainable finance. And what sustainable finance is about is monies that go towards positive impacting projects in the area of environment and social governance. And what that means is we have green bonds, we have instruments that we can work around to build sustainable finance or to provide the necessary funding that organizations may need as they make this shift to address climate risk through adaptation or even through mitigation. Back to you, Maina.
Thank you so much, Lois, for that. And I'll ask you to hang in there just for a minute or two in case there's a question on what you've just talked about. But in the house as well is Oscar from the Kenya Red Cross. Oscar, if you could grab your mic there. And I just want to throw in a first question because at least we have had several of your colleagues speak about what the Kenya Red Cross is doing. But you realize that it's quite paramount that we rely on time-sensitive data to address the climate crisis that we have. So how is data analytics framework around climate change in Africa built to support mitigation and adaptation from where you sit?
Thank you even for the opportunity to be here.
Yeah.
Just happy to have spoken after the government. I wish they spoke after us so that they close up the conversation.
Yeah.
But so two things we are talking about today and yesterday: mitigation and adaptation.
Yeah.
So the data around that, and even as a humanitarian agency here in Kenya, and we are auxiliary to the government, we actually support what the government does.
Mm-hmm.
In mitigation, actually, we're a bit lucky. We see a lot of interest from the research community. We've had the government also alluding to the fact that they work closely with the universities and research institutions to ensure that capacity building is strongly pushed.
Yeah.
So we see the IPCC, for example, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the ones scientists really coming, marshalling all the evidences around, looking at data to inform the evidence and all that, really telling us issues of and impacts of climate change and all that. So that's well anchored within the research space, and that trickles down to decision makers because they usually get us very good summary reports and all that.
Okay.
So the research, the jargon of research really sits with the researchers, but very useful information trickles to decision makers. Okay. Again, we still observe, again, the things that we were saying yesterday. We are not seeing the communities really benefiting strongly from this. We need some of these evidences to be informed by the communities, but also communities to really digest some of this information. We know that communities have their own ways of seeing things, and that needs to be harnessed. In adaptation, again, data sits with the different guys. Okay. This is where we see a lot of humanitarian interest, but very different agencies really doing things in silos. But how can we start now getting information from each and every interested party? Okay. That's still a gap. Okay. We see that, for instance, Kenya Red Cross, we have our own data, but it sits with the Red Cross. That can be shared, but only within a space of people who work for a certain goal. So data still sitting with the different guys, but there's space to scale up all that.
Okay. Let me get to the second question, and it's about stakeholders that you serve. Do they have access to data and research findings that informs policy making around climate change and governance?
We believe there's good advocacy of what we do. Putting out there the kind of useful information that people need to see, especially decision makers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Lois, let me bring you in as well on the same subject, because I have seen, I think at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we have seen companies coming there and reporting on their ESG, and I think you've spoken about the reporting that you're empowering people to do. So my question to you is this: is there something that informs policy making around them, or just what has been your observation now that you're pushing companies under your umbrella? Are they adopting this? What has been your observation?
Thank you, Maina. While we are now pushing vocally on disclosure, this has been happening in Kenya voluntarily, even before we issued the Disclosure Guidance Manual. We have companies that were already telling their story of what they are doing for the society and for the environment. So that is very commendable.
Okay.
What we are seeing now is that climate risk, particularly now the push is coming, and it will be mandatory in the near term. We have seen the CBK issue the climate risk mitigation guidelines for the banks. And that will mean that the banks have to put in risk mitigation measures around climate risk and disclose on the same as a mandatory requirement.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Did I cut you short?
No, I just wanted to conclude and say that the policies are there. Even at the national level, we have a national policy on climate, climate change risk and all that. So coming to the private sector, which actually drives a lot of these emissions, then we are seeing traction in taking up those requirements as required by the regulators.
Okay, thank you for that. Before I let you go, Lois, I just still have another question for you, because you are, correct me if I'm wrong, you're a private entity that is pushing this agenda of ESGs and ensuring the big companies around this country, and I know the Safaricoms, the Equities of the day, the Kakuzis of the day, quite varied, are really obliging, as you've said, even some before you started doing this, and they're doing this on a voluntary basis. So my question is this: what are some of the tools, in your opinion, should, even governments, on an advisory perspective for you now, what do you think should be done to build capacity and homegrown models to deal with these climate change problems? In your opinion, what do you think should be done extra, maybe apart from what you're doing?
I think first and foremost is to understand that climate risk as it is will affect different people differently. The way it will affect communities in Kitui, for example, is maybe not, the tools that they may need to use may not be what an organization in Nairobi will need to do. But first and foremost, an organization will need a tool around collecting data. I think what we lack in Kenya is the data around this risk of climate change. So that data, and in general ESG data, we need to start collecting that. Beyond that, once the data is available, then the tools around, we need education, we need methodologies for companies to be able to identify material ESG topics that affect them directly. So that will be key.
Okay.
And we need also capacity around that, how to use those methodologies, because it's a model around materiality analysis, particularly, and also how to engage your stakeholders.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I would still ask you to give us one more minute before you leave. Let me bring you in, Oscar, now. Tell me about the role of subnational governments, because you work a lot as well with them, even the county governments and the likes, in climate change-related mitigation and adaptation interventions. What do you see as a role that they can play?
Thank you for that question. So it's very important for us to really appreciate the role of the government as the overall authority. So in this case, we'll be looking at coordination issues. For instance, yesterday we were talking about very different capacities that are out there, but also the mandate really to bring together all these kind of efforts. So we really need the government to sit to be very objective and interested in all this with regards to climate change issues, therefore really coordinating different aspects. But again, the government somehow is a very, as an interested party, they would be seen as a donor, so they need to position themselves as a donor, really giving also financing certain elements. We've had the government just, my other panelists really alluding to the fact that the government would be, really bring together methodologies, but also data collection and all that. We have a lot of capacity within the government to support this. We have authorities, very, institutions instituted to deal with aspects. For instance, we have in Kenya, we have the National Environmental Management Authority, really with mandate to really coordinate environmental issues. They are the ones who would be really enforcing some of these policies and laws and ensuring that everyone is compliant and all that.
Okay.
So all this can be played with it's a critical role for the government to play.
All right. Lois, my final question to you will be about the ESG Disclosure Manual you've talked about. Maybe there are some corporates here that would want to borrow an idea or two. Is it available, or do people have to pay for it? It's good to know so that at least we can get to understand from the private perspective what you're doing. Is it available?
It is available on the Nsc website. Under publications, you'll see the Nsc Esg Disclosures Guidelines Manual. It's a tool that a company can use, whether listed, whether small or big. It's a process flow document because it seeks to answer the gap that people already are aware of ESG in general, but the how to actually put that into the systems in the organizations is what was lacking. Okay. So it's a how-to document. It's available for use by practitioners, by any company that wants to access it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. My final question for you, Oscar, will be how can governments enforce the polluter pay principle? That is that entire principle of polluter pay principle to pay for the cost of the externalities when it comes to climate change accountability. We have people who are much bigger when it comes to polluting. Well, that's just doing a little, can we have this enforced?
Two things. One is, again, goes back to coordination. Really, we need acts, we need frameworks to really hold accountable the people within. Are they the industries? Are they the development partners within country that are doing different aspects? Really, we need an authority that oversees what someone is doing, and by the end of the day, that person should be a neutral party, which is the government. So beyond that, we also have the government actually represents us to certain dialogues and conversations on climate change with our bigger brothers whom, as a developing country, for Kenya, we see them as the big polluters out there, and you see whatever they do ends up affecting us.
Yeah.
So a story is told of a certain engagement, a climate change engagement forum out there, in which a representative, a government representative who went there was a PA to a very, instead of being a technical person who understands the issues and would really bargain for a more fund to be allocated for the guys who are polluting more to pay more carbon tax. This person sent a PA and this person went to swim and all that, so he didn't really understand the importance of that kind of a dialogue. So we really need people who go and engage in certain platforms with other countries out there on climate change issues, really to be bargaining for bringing an understanding that we are not polluting so much, but the carbon taxes should be heavier on the guys who are polluting. But they should also be making commitments to really cut down on carbon emissions and all that.
Yeah.
So we see also that our national government has a role to defend us in the international fora.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Let me open the session. I know this was quite technical. It's about governance, and we are really getting into getting some technical details here. Anybody here with a question that you would want to ask one of the panelists, Lois, before we release her? Anybody with a question? Just by show of hand. I'm trying to see anybody. 1, 2, 3. None. And anyone with a question for Oscar as well? It means people listened and they got it right. Absolutely. So Please put your hands together for our two panelists. A round of applause to them, tafadhali. Thank you so much. And I really wanted to put the technical team behind me. I think it's on the spot because I have something I wanted them to play. I had not prepared them for this, but I just want to do that. So, yeah, so before we get to our next session, and we have Equity Bank in the house, so kindly, first of all, I want to appreciate Oscar as he leaves. Tafadhali makofi, tafadhali kwake akija. And Lois as well, thank you so much for your time. We know we got you at an abrupt time and our lunch extended and you had to wait for us. We appreciate you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for the session that we have had. Oscar, I'll ask you to kindly have your seat. And technical team on our chat box, I have shared something. It's a clip that I would like us to just sort of like activate ourselves with. I don't know whether you've received it, Director, on our chat on the climate forum, on our forum, Pat. That's what I would like you to just do. In the meantime, I know we just had an amazing lunch session. Sometimes it was hard. I hear it was hard getting guys back because it was a 6 course. Or what was it? Right? Yeah, so I hope we can activate. Let's all be on our feet as we prepare to listen to the other one. Just get on your feet, please. Get on your feet. I noticed today I need to do one exercise with you, which is very important. And as I told you earlier, it would be very wrong for me to ensure that we do not have this conversation ongoing. Please grab your phone one more time. Something certain like yesterday, I wanted to walk to someone who looks smarter than you in a way and take a selfie with them. Please do that. It's important. It's important because this conversation as well is ongoing. Please do that. Please do that and take a very nice selfie. Have you walked to someone? If you have no one, it would be unfortunate if that does not happen. Are we there? Oh. Hold on. You want to take a picture? Take it. Fine. Let's put it. You have it? Director, confirm you have that music? You have it? Good. Just chill. Hold it. So do you have it now? I want to video. You have the selfies? Please post. Remember our chat. Remember. People have gone to post for photos. It's okay. Now, remember our hashtag, Switch Media Roadmap to COP27. It's a selfie. The hashtag is Switch Media Roadmap to COP27. There you go. We have taken it. Did anybody take a selfie with our camera persons? It's important that we don't forget them. Okay, so please make sure you're posted and post something deep. For the last 2 days, what have you taken in? Something that you can talk about. So I would like to see those people who are doing it and who are following our hashtag. I would like to see who has posted the latest one. Excellent. Now, as people are posting, I just want to prepare that we have Mr. Naivasha here. That's his name, by the way. It's not the place that you know. He's from Equity. But before I call him in, I don't know who told you to sit down. I really don't know who told you to sit down. Last I checked, I was the man in the mic. And so there will be something playing on the screens. All you need to do is to follow the instruction and do what is being instructed. Are you ready for this? No, some of you are still seated. Please stand. If you're very close to someone, get some space. We have a lot of, we just want to let our food sink in a little bit, just a little bit, because it is important. Director, we are ready for you, please. Please don't look at me, look at the screen and follow the instruction given. Let's go. And please give us some volume on that. Don't speak. Wait. Please do that. Follow the instruction. Follow. Just move a little bit. Yeah. You're doing well. Come on. Back. One leg. Left. Ah, you're doing well. Some salsa. That's called salsa. For those who go to the gym, we can see you. Hey! That's enough, director. That's enough, director. The food has gone. The food has gone. Thank you so much. Have your seats. It's just a way of telling you that we are doing well. All right. There you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just quickly skipping. Some of you are already murmuring, asking, did you look at me? Did you look at me? No, we understand. So very quickly, please allow me to introduce our next session, and it's about clean action. And we have the representative courtesy of Equity Bank that are really doing very well in terms of these matters of clean action. And we have Mr. Eric Naivasha right here. He has a presentation for about 10 minutes or so. And then we're going to just get to understand, especially on matters clean energy, what are they doing? Please put your hands together for Mr. Eric Naivasha. Karibu sana.
Yeah, thank you very much and good afternoon. We can have the presentation up so that we can move together.
Put up the presentation.
But as the presentation comes up, maybe just a few comments about equity. I'm sure we all of us know Equity Group, which is a twin engine approach to business, where we drive our business from the social side. So we normally say that we are a plane that has two engines that catalyze each other. There is the social engine and the economic engine. And the social engine, which is a license that we've been given by our communities where we serve, we believe that one is more important than the license we get from the central bank to open our doors to customers every day. Because we need to give back to, and we need to do our business sustainably in the communities we serve. And that's why we have 6 programming areas that define what equity does. In the next slide, you'll be able to see we intervene a lot in food-aid agriculture and doing farming, food-aid agriculture in a sustainable way. The area of health, access, social protection for the vulnerable in the community, the area of enterprise development, education. A society can never be better than its leaders. I'm sure most of us are familiar with our Wings to Fly and Equity Leaders program. And lastly is energy and environment, which is really to champion environmental conservation and fight climate change and all its impacts within the communities that we serve. And I'm privileged to be the director within the group that leads those initiatives of sustainability. So why are you concerned about environment inequity? I'm sure we know what is ailing our planet today. Is the unsustainable increase in greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, whether you're talking about methane from agricultural activities, whether you're talking of pollution from industries, pollution from agriculture, from our roads, from our landfills. It's human activity that is polluting the world. And we are using our natural resources in a way that is not sustainable. But then the question is, who is funding these activities? Most of these activities that are ailing our world are in a bank's balance sheet somewhere. So I'm here to say that we stand accused of fueling climate change by the way we deploy our balance sheet and the way we fund economic activities. And therefore, that's why banks have been called to be at the forefront of fighting climate change by the way we interact with the environment, by the way we finance our clients, so that we are able to reduce the aggregate levels of greenhouse gases that are responsible to the catastrophe that we are in. As the panel here with Oscar and Nsc has said, we are not largely responsible for the climate catastrophe that we are in Africa. We are emitting less than 3% of the global emissions, but we are bearing the brunt. But I think you've seen even Europe now started bearing the brunt in the last couple of weeks. You've seen the soaring temperatures and forest fires in Europe that has not been seen before. So we are staring at, the world is at a tipping point. And that's why you see the pledges that were done even in COP26 in Glasgow. You saw us there with the Net Zero Banking Alliance making pledges and all that. Because we are concerned about three areas, a number of areas. Power generation, agriculture and land use, transportation, buildings, and also manufacturing. Some of the areas that, and it's not that we don't know what needs to be done, because we know what we need to do to get to net zero carbon emission by 2050. We know we need to work on how we consume power. And we need to increase the renewable energy to 500 gigatons of power. We need to reduce our emissions on our road by 50%. We need to increase energy efficiency. We know all those things. We need to say no to coal. But unfortunately, we've seen some countries have reverted to coal and giving Russia and Ukraine as an excuse. And we need to get out of coal. We need to invest a lot in research and development for carbon capture and sequestration and carbon neutral fuels. We know what needs to be done. But unfortunately, when you look at data today, if you look at the pledges and targets that we got out of COP26, if we're able to redeem all those pledges and targets, they will end us at 2.1. We are talking about 1.5. If we look at the 2030 targets only without, they will give us 2.4. We'll be way above the 1.5 we are talking about. The optimistic target we have today, if we are able to bridge talk in boardrooms and action on the ground, is 1.8. That's where we're going to end up. Because we have a huge gap between all this wave of net zero emissions, which is not matched by actions on the ground. So we are still not at a good place in terms of all the pledges. And unfortunately, we are going again to Egypt in November to make more pledges. What Africa needs now is not even mitigation. We are not emitting too much. It's adaptation, because we are bearing the brunt. There are no boundaries in the air. What is happening in China and the US is affecting us here. But we've not built our resilience, our adaptive capacity to what's happening elsewhere. We might not control emissions in the US or China or India or wherever, but they're affecting us here today. Unfortunately, only 5% of global funding is going into adaptation. Everybody has been talking about adaptation for the last, many years. And Africa needs adaptation. I'm not saying that we continue polluting, but I'm saying adaptation, the money for adaptation, we need to increase, that funding. So in Equity Bank, then we sat down and said, where can we contribute in this conversation? And I'll just spend the last 5 minutes, because I was given 10, to say we are investing significantly on renewable energy, right from household access all the way to a factory that requires 5-10 megawatts of power to produce what they are producing. And here I'm speaking from a regional context, because like in DRC, where everybody is running a generator outside because of only 9-10% access to electricity, then a lot needs to be done to get people out of polluting generators to more renewable sources. So we are investing a lot in wind, solar, biogas, biomass, geothermal, hydro power as renewable sources of power, including biofuels, heat pumps, and all that in buildings. So on the renewable side. Then on the energy efficiency, we are working a lot with industries, with companies, with institutions to improve energy efficiency. It's cheaper to produce, to save 1 kilowatt of power than to produce it. So saving power through energy efficient equipment. And this is where we are seeing very quick wins. Because by the time you finalize a solar plant or a wind or a hydro plant in DRC, for example, it can be even, some projects are even 10 years. But when you're switching people to more efficient appliances that are low on energy and less on emissions, then you are getting very quick wins. And I think most of our portfolio sits in energy efficiency, including e-mobility, which now we are working with many companies on e-mobility and motorized transport and all that on the energy efficiency side. And we're seeing a lot of gains in that in terms of emissions. I'm sure some of us are aware of the program we are running currently with institutions like schools, hospitals, and prisons and all that, because we realize they are the biggest destroyers of our environment in terms of wood fuel. If we can move the slides a little bit up, so that we can see. I've already talked about that in terms of, I've also explained that. Those are examples of the projects we are handling. If we can just move ahead. Yeah, this is where we are. The slide that has, you can go back, yeah, this is where we are. You can see the fight that we have with our institutions in the region. And these photos are very familiar with our institutions, especially if you went to a boarding school, a public boarding school in Kenya. These scenes were very familiar. The top two photos of heaps of firewood. When you cut a tree, you have done a number of things. One, you have removed the ability of that tree to sequester carbon from the atmosphere. Number two, when you burn that tree in very poor technologies, then you're releasing carbon back into the atmosphere. And then all the health issues and all that, coming out of that. And we are saying this is not a sustainable way of cooking from a climate perspective. And that's where we are promoting the use of cleaner fuels and technologies within our institutions in Kenya. We have a chance to save ourselves 12 million trees a year by switching schools alone from using firewood to cleaner sources of fuel. And in the next slide then, you see what we are doing about clean transportation, e-mobility, and all that, so that we are able to promote the use of electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, and also non-motorized transport, and also mass transport, and creating infrastructure that enables that to happen, whether it's rails for people to cycle, like if you go to Rwanda, you see the investment there, what we are doing on the, to reduce cars on the road. And then the next one then is on buildings. 40% of our emissions comes from the built environment, and we have a program where we are working on green buildings, so that we build, the built environment is very efficient on energy consumption, water efficiency within buildings, the carbon embodied in building materials, waste management within buildings, and we are working with our partners like the World Bank, IFC, on certification of buildings. We have a program we are calling the Market Accelerator for Green Construction that we are encouraging, even when we are doing low-cost houses. Then we have an opportunity to reduce emissions significantly from the built environment. And the next one, and I'm almost done now, is on the climate smart agriculture. A third of all what we grow and comes to our table is lost. And if food losses were a country, they would be the third largest emitter in the world. So we have programs on reducing food losses. I will not go into the details. We have a program on land use. How efficient are we in using water in our farms, use of energy in our farms, so that we're able to reduce emissions per ton of what we produce. And if you're losing a third of then what you produce, then you need more energy, you need more fertilizer, you need more water to be able to produce more because you've lost a third. So we are working along supply chains, ecosystems, to be able to reduce losses. And it can be as basic as storage, packaging, transport, markets, aggregation, so that we don't lose food. And also finishing your food when you go for lunch. So if you didn't finish your food today, then you're contributing to emissions. That food might end up in a landfill. What will you get out of that landfill? Methane. That's what you get out of there. And that's why people are now being encouraged, have a biodigester on your balcony, or the food, put it there, it'll give you energy. You deal with that methane that comes out of us not finishing our food. And also, dealing with the, waste management, sustainable waste management from our animals, especially our cows, which are biggest polluters in terms of methane production. It's an area that we are really supporting farmers to deal with their waste. And the support, of course, we are giving is both, technical support. We have partners that we partner with in terms of technical support and financial support and training on all these things. I think the last one is on water efficiency. I think I've explained that. Because with climate change, water resources are becoming scarce, so efficient use of water. And the last one is afforestation and reforestation. As Equity, we committed to plant 35 million trees. Today, we are at a tree number 19 million. And through our programs, we've been able to save about another million trees from being cut because of our energy transitions. So planting of trees, rehabilitating degraded lands, water towers, through afforestation and reforestation is part of our climate action. I think I'll end there because of time. There are many things I would have wanted us to discuss, but I'm available for any questions, even during coffee. Thank you very much.
Sure thing. A round of applause to Mr. Naivasha, please. So I think it's quite practical, and we love what you're doing. I don't know whether there's anyone with a quick question here. What I've heard is that I think there's an organization here that is very interested to just have a conversation with you on what they can collaborate with. I think you'll visit their tent at some point, and that means they have seen an opportunity. Does anyone have a question? Equity is in the house. You never know. So I think there's a mic here that is going to come to you. So there's only that question. Any other? Any other? Oh, there's one as well from NMS. NMS has a question for you. So I think just stay put there. We can have those two questions and then jump into the last presentation of the day. Make it short, straight to the point. Let's go.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Boniface Omuntu Nyango. My question to Equity is, I know you lead in the supply and production chain, as in you invest in businesses, advise and do all sorts of financial advising. Now, when it comes to climate, do you consider proposals that are brought to you by business entities in terms of if they are environmental, maybe something like that? And then how do you quench your thirst for business in relation to environmental protection?
Excellent. That's a good question. Do you consider this, especially proposals that come from these young people? Then there's another final question at the back there from NMS. Then you can tackle that, and then we'll close the session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Naivasha, and the beautiful presentation from Equity. Mine is not rather a question, but just to request that from your presentation, and you're talking about schools, and especially the public boarding schools. But I have an idea that you're investing with money in your banking institution. I would like and love to partner with you to bank on young children as assets of change in environment, especially map up a school in Nairobi where we can teach them about growing the seedlings, tending to them, and making their schools green and the communities that they live in. Thank you.
All right. So I think you could give a quick comment on that. We have about 2 minutes for that session.
Thanks for that question on ESG. Every business we fund, it has to tick all the boxes on environmental and social governance issues. And we do accept proposals from businesses, even startups. And our ESG policies, we've just revised them. So there are some exclusions in terms of what we can fund. Like now, coal is part of the exclusion, in an exclusion list. There are others that are coming in that. You have a proposal to clear a forest to plant food, then that probably will not fly, or do burn charcoal. So there's a big exclusion list on the environment side, but we have a big ESG team that looks at every proposal and makes a determination based on the ESG considerations. And just to mention that, and based on the last panel, Equity Bank we have already finished our climate risk assessment on our portfolio. We know where all the risks are because we are using technology to map out where the portfolio is and what is the potential climate risk in that area, in compliance with what the last panel was talking about in terms of compliance. About schools, that's a great idea. We actually, out of the 19 million trees, 12 million are in schools, in primary schools and in secondary schools. And we have a program where we plant with the kids, we train them. And the idea of doing the nurseries in schools is very welcome. Because these trees, we buy them. If the kids can do the nurseries and we off-take those trees, we buy them and plant with them, that's a win-win situation even for the schools in terms of income generation. So that one we can partner tomorrow because I have another 16 million trees to plant. I need somebody to grow those seedlings. I think those were the questions.
Those were the questions. And by the way, that's an opportunity for those of you who are also asking the same question about partnering. There you have it. Mr. Naivasha is going to be around for a few more minutes, so if you have something, and I know in fact, the next session is about just 10 more minutes because we need to end by 4 o'clock. And so I wanted to, at this particular moment, invite the representative speaking today on behalf of the NMS to kindly as well come forward and take us through this particular session. Thank you. I just needed to use this particular platform for the sake of the welcoming. Yeah, there you have it. So we have the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, and I want to request her to come. She was here yesterday, and she's looking dapper today. So welcome, and just close for us in this session of about climate and health. We would like as well to understand. Do we still have vaccination going on? Oh, excuse me, if you have not been vaccinated, we have vaccines happening. If you're not boosted yet, boost yourself. There's something happening there. We just wanted to tell these people well enough. Karibu sana.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. For those who are not here yesterday, my name is Lilian Mutua. I head the Health Promotion Department for NMS under the Directorate of Health. And I want us to look at how climate change is a threat to health in Africa. As you will very well know, is that currently we are experiencing floods unexpectedly all over the world in different places. We also are having drought. I know in most of even our home counties, it has not rained well. For almost some places, I even learned it's 3 years. So that has impact on health. We also have inadequate water. I've seen even in the cities there is a lot of rationing. Every other time, I tend to believe even when we are being told maybe there's some maintenance, maybe they're just slowing down the issuance of water. There's also very inadequate pasture land in different places, and when this happens, there's also conflict, human-to-human conflict, human and wildlife conflict, and we also have, especially in the cities, we are having a lot of urbanization and development, and most of it unplanned because people are not able to meet their daily needs. Maybe they think when they come to the urban, it would be maybe a bit rosy. All this at the end will give us health impact. As you know, when there's flooding, we experience uncalled for waterborne diseases. I just want us to reflect a bit in the city of Nairobi. Any other time that we have had the cholera outbreaks, it's either after a very heavy rain or a very long period of drought, and we have scarcity of water. So most of the people will well do with whatever water that is there. Their sanitation and hygiene practices will not be up to expected. Most of the people who are really affected by these conditions are the elderly. We've even seen where we are having people wrestling because of cattle or fighting because of the water or because of pasture. When this fight escalates, the most affected are the elderly, the children. We have seen schools closing down. We have seen the young being left without food. We've also seen the pregnant women suffer, and also the people with special needs. When we have any conflict at any given time, it is for those who are strong to fight for themselves and also to take a flight so that they can also not be injured. But for the ones who get injured, for those who will go without food, for those who will go without water, then they have diverse effects because of lack of food and even the water. Thus, they will have some health implications. What are the priority needs versus the healthcare needs because of poor health-seeking behavior? When you cannot afford a meal, when you don't have water, when you don't have the good weather conditions for you to continue doing maybe your farming or your livestock, then the person who is not able to make their end meet will have food insecurity in the household, will have poor nutrition, which brings an impact into health. So when we look at whatever is happening in the spectra of health, the climate change, we see that the adverse effects for humanity will come to health. And even when it is for the livestock and the environment, at the end of the day, it will be an impact of the health of the human beings, thus giving us a very big load on the health budgets. And a person who is hungry, a person who is not very sure of what they are going to eat, a person who does not have water, even if they were not very sick, then going to seek for medication, going to the health facility just to get attention becomes the other priority. So their first priority will be, what do they feed on and what do they drink? When we even look at the schools, we have seen children carrying water to school. I think it is another level that this should also have a discussion for us to make sure that every child who is in school or even a learning institution or a workplace, we should not be running around carrying our water bottles. We should have safe water within the institutions, within our workplaces, which is accessible, which is affordable. We also are going to look at how does this climate change impact on us. Like I had said yesterday, as Nairobi Metropolitan Services and the Health Directorate, we are looking at how to reduce pollution at household and especially in the informal. We have almost 7,000 community health volunteers being taught how to go and tell people the messaging on safe fuel for household, and partnering with some gas companies, then they will be able to be given the safe fuel at a reduced price, and they are not being requested to pay for their cylinders. It is only for top up for refueling their gas. So we should look at such examples, and like what I just said, if we want to invest in good investments for us to change whatever is happening in the environment globally and even in our city, in our country, then we have to look at how are we going to take it to the young children. We have had different programs like the immunization programs for polio, for measles. Now we are doing the COVID, and we have brought children as agents of change. Those who are having children who are in the lower primary, I know we are having a lot of fatigue of hearing about the COVID vaccine, about the COVID disease, but we are embracing the children to be the agents of change in the house to give the good messages of getting healthy. Like if we have a polio campaign, we ask the children to go check with their children at home, their siblings, whether they have the finger marking that we normally do when we are doing the polio, and report back to school so we can always identify where we have households where children are not vaccinated and follow up. For even issues like sexual and gender-based violence, it is the children who report us in school. They'll always tell the teacher how their mother was beaten, how the dad came back very high. Whatever happens in that household, it's the children who tell. And then we are able to do our linkage and referrals. So even for saving our environment and looking at what we can do in Kenya, I'd really request all the partners in this house to look at how to tap into the children, because they are the future of tomorrow. If they grow knowing that we need safe spaces, safe environments, greener spaces, greener sites on this globe, then they are going to carry the mantle, and they will grow up with the concepts that we are looking at towards 2030 and beyond. I won't take much of your time. I know we are short of time. I just request that all the partners who are here, we had a partnership coordinator for NMS Health. Even if you want to partner with the health sector, I was talking to the young people yesterday, and I've encouraged them not only for the programs that they invest in. You can still come to Nyayo House, 10th floor. That is where the Director of Health Services sits. Kindly come partner with us and co-opt health and any other health issue into saving this nation. And just like our coordinator here is saying, kindly visit our booth. We were privileged yesterday to vaccinate 15 people. Today, we have also vaccinated people who are from Riara University, and we also urge those who are here. I know some were saying, will it give them a side effect or not? Tomorrow is a weekend. If you thought that you'd have anything, kindly reach out to us. We'll give you the vaccination. We have given a lot of education today. That's why I was not in here. And some people were even calling their relatives at home and telling them, we have had the factual information. Can you be encouraged to get the vaccine? Thank you very much. To Switch TV, you've been a very good partner to us. We still want to continue partnering. And I'm requesting the Switch TV team. I want to do a COVID-19 vaccination campaign with you, maybe immediately after the election, if your management will allow for us to be associated with Switch TV and the Kenya Red Cross, and we ask the residents in South Sea to come and get the vaccination from your site. Thank you very much and have a beautiful evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that session on health. Another beautiful round of applause to her. Thank you so much for really even looking forward to the partnership. Now, I'm just reminded that we have some gift hampers that I promised people, so if you left earlier than the time, I will keep that for you. But if you're here and patient enough, like this table, sauti ya vijana, I've never seen young people behave like this. Hey, you guys, I appreciate you. Now, just before I call in Mr. Salim, the head of commercial, to come and give the closing remarks, I just want to get 2 volunteers. You never know what could be coming, but just do it. Don't do it because of a present. Just do it because you want to do it. 2 volunteers who can say, in summary, you don't have to go to the details. What has been your takeout from this conference that you sit down and you can say, this is what I feel, or this is what I've gotten out of this. I'd like to get those 2 particular situations. So, do we have someone? Do we have someone, 1 or 2? Just volunteers. Someone who has sat there and you're like, wow, the last 2 days, this is what I've gotten. I'm waiting. This one needs people to breathe. You can breathe. And then after breathing, now you can put up your hand. If you're afraid of putting up your hand like a class, you can just signal me. Now, if you fail to do that because we are online and we don't have time to wait, I'll point out at someone. Yeah, people already, I can see, there you go. Oh, that's one. Any other person? I just wanted to pick the second person there. Going once, going twice. Okay, let's hear from her first. Please pass the microphone to her. There you go. What has been your call to action that you've felt from the last 2 days? Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Esther from Kenya Red Cross, and I support DRR, climate change adaptation and environment. I think the takeaway for me from the 2 days is that I've come to learn more about what the private sector are doing. And I think one of the things that we were talking with my colleagues is identifying areas for collaboration and potential partnership. And I think that is something that we'd like to take forward with partners in the room, but also being able to learn from other organizations what they are doing, including the youth, and also the understanding of the challenges that are currently existing in the African context, but also in the Kenyan context, and how we can work towards closing the gap, especially in the upcoming conference in Egypt. Thank you.
Wow, lovely. A round of applause to her. Do you have another volunteer? Oh yeah, I was wondering, my friend, you asked a lot of questions of Kisiagi that time. So anyway, can we have, you have actually been very active in all the sessions. Please, a round of applause to him. He has been one of the men, anytime a presenter is here, be ready. But anyway, go ahead.
Hello everyone.
Hi.
As Africans, I know we are used to having plentiful food and at an affordable price, that is. And I want to be sure from this event, what I've gathered is that if we want to continue having this plentiful food, then we need to ensure we research, innovate, and ensure an uptake into farming that will change how we produce and consume for both environmental reasons and our existence. So from here, I've gotten that we have to actually think of how to mitigate the environmental challenges and at the same time ensure that we produce food that will ensure human beings are not becoming extinct, just from the presentation that was presented the other day. So we need to innovate while ensuring that we protect our environment and mitigate the challenges.
Great, thank you so much. A round of applause to him as well. Let me close it at that for now with those two particular comments. I may share mine. Let me just not go to the bigger details, the smaller details that matter. I'm now very cautious of even the water that I'm buying. Since in some of the shops, the water that you buy doesn't have to be plastic, right? You can buy a bottle. If you can't buy a bottle, you can carry a bottle like the one Jemima has. Jemima, can you show them? Can you show them that bottle? Something reusable that you can always carry water with so that you stop wasting. So if you're among the people who, let me not go there, such kind of things. Another one, please serve what you can, finish. It's not cool to leave some food for the ancestors. I don't know why you do those kind of things that, I've left this one. No, did you just hear what happened? Yeah, you're just contributing to environment degradation. Small things that matter, right? So I think it goes down to us asking ourselves very hard questions of what am I doing personally? Even before you start now thinking of letting other people know, or other people, let them ask you the questions, why are you doing this, and inform them. I'm not the one closing the session, but I want to invite Jemima, who is as well from ICHA, and she was here as a panelist, has been very instrumental in making this happen. I think Mr. Salim has said he may not have enough words like her to close this particular session, so I want to invite you to kindly close the session for us, and then we can call it a day, please.
I hope that doesn't mean I talk a lot.
No.
Good afternoon, everyone. I can see everyone is listening to me and can see me, even from the back. Okay. So first, I would like to give a brief introduction of Kenya Red Cross. I realize we did not do that for those who are not aware about the different departments within Kenya Red Cross. So within the Kenya Red Cross, we have 4 main departments. So we have the disaster management that deals with the normal response that we all know, but also does resilience programming and adaptation programming, in addition to other programs. Then we have the health, nutrition, and social services that deals a lot with public health. In this regard, also mental health in climate change and other programming. Then we have the ICHA department that has participates a lot in research on policy, innovations, cash and voucher assistance, and we have the data and climate team that also support that. Then we have the youth department, and I'm sure the youth, National Youth Council would be very interested in partnering with them. So we have the youth department that has quite a number of units, including health, climate action, and leadership and governance. So we can have a chat and I can connect you to those involved. Then we have subsidiaries of Kenya Red Cross. Number 1, Switch, who are hosting us today. And then we have the training school, which offers training on first aid, among other medical issues. Then we have the Boma Hotel, the ones who have been feeding us for the last 2 days. And then we have the Boma College, and then we have E+. And the subsidiaries are for-profit. The main Red Cross is not for-profit, but the subsidiaries are for-profit, and they feed the financing that they get, the profits that they get, into the not-for-profit. So that's how we work together. So in a nutshell, that's Red Cross. If you want more information, you can reach out to anyone who is branded today, or at the reception desk, or the email that communicated to you. So for my vote of thanks, first of all, I would want to thank all the financial partners who have made this happen. Who has eaten today and yesterday? Tea break, lunch, 4 o'clock tea, breakfast tea. We didn't have to make tea in our house. So we have some partners who have really come through to support and enable us to be here and be able to function through the 2 days. And allow me to just mention them by name. So we have the African Development Bank, and we have the representative online. We have SNV through CRAFT and DFCD. Then we have the Kedar Gap. We have Sun Culture, and we have the E+. So thank you for ensuring that we are able to concentrate through these sessions. And in terms of the technical input and giving us conversations that will be able to feed our different sessions, then we have our partners, number one, financial partners, but we also have partners such as We Center, who were able to join us online, and I am sure we had some physically yesterday. And then the group that had the most unique name, We Don't Have Time. They were unable to join us today because of another, they didn't have time, but they made time. But we hope to see them in subsequent meetings. And then we have the NMS. We really appreciate that you were able to make time to be with us and also give us a vaccination. Then we have the National Youth Council, and thank you for being with us for the 2 days. And then we have the Equity Foundation. We thank you for, we know part of it was short notice, but we thank you for your contribution in the technical discussions through today's sessions. And then to our panelists, our MC, and if you are not here yesterday, MC stands for Maina Chege. So his name is actually Maina Chege, but he's also our MC. Thank you so much for leading us quite eloquently and efficiently through the sessions. Our cameramen, our ushers, the Boma Hotel, we really thank you for hosting us here. And last but not least, I would like to thank the senior management of the Kenya Red Cross. They have allowed us to be here for the 2 days and have facilitated to ensure that we are in a safe space, that we are able to have these conversations ahead of the COP27. Some of the things, and I did not want to share during the sharing that has just happened, but one of the things that has come out really clearly is the role of partnerships, even as we go into climate adaptation, climate mitigation, and as we head into the COP27, we need to work together. No organization, no institution will be able to walk this journey alone. And I'm glad NMS has started paving the way and calling for different partners directly. And I know we've also had a small side discussion on how we can reach out to the different partners, and we've already started that conversation on how can we work together to ensure that climate action is not a one-man show, but is able to bring all our voices together. And I think one of the things that We Don't Have Time pointed out is, as one person, you cannot go far. We need the voices brought together. We need to be able to have one voice to advocate for Kenya and for Africa in terms of climate action. And last but not least, I appreciate all the work that we are doing. They say charity starts at home. And I think we are already seeing the work starting at home. We've made great strides, and we've been able to share during the panel discussions and throughout the booths that we've been having, the different innovations being exhibited. So we thank you that you are actually doing the work. So as we approach the different donors that we want to work with, we already say, this is what we are doing. How can you bring us forward from this? And last, let us continue talking to each other. Let us continue providing a space where we can share and upscale some of the lessons that we are learning and some of the innovations that we are seeing happening. I hope I've been able to reach out to everyone. Maybe just one more person. Who was coordinating all of us? How many have heard or seen Jane Scovia? She has knocked on your door. She has sent you emails, and we thank you for responding to that. And thank you, Jane, for ensuring that we are here, and we are here for the 2 days, and we are able to eat and network and have fruitful discussions. So thank you so much. Am I the one closing? No. Okay.
And finally,
Thank
we
you.
also want to appreciate Jemima as well with a round of applause. Thank you so much for being, first of all, a panelist. Not just a panelist, also behind the scenes, ensuring things are flowing, that things are going smooth, and making sure that we don't have those, those hidden gems at the back. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my distinguished honor to say that this brings to a close the Africa Climate Change Forum Roadmap to COP27 session that we have had for the last 2 days. It's been such an honor. But before then, is there something else that we have maybe have missed? Jemima, please come. It's okay. As I said, Jemima is the one who ensures we don't miss out anything. So what have we missed out?
So I forgot to point out that this was one of two. So we'll have another session like this, another forum like this in October. So look out for our communication. We are starting the planning on Tuesday. So on Monday we rest, on Tuesday we start the planning. So we'll be communicating on this. So the next session will be in October, and we hope that we'll see all of you here, and we'll have some of the messaging that we want to take towards COP. Thank you.
Great. I was just about to say this is a continuous conversation. Thank you so much for that reminder, and I hope that come October we'll be even much better prepared to even come and give the latest, and even with better results now, practical things that we will go and apply. That's it from us here. I want us all to be upstanding. We started with the national anthem. We're going to end with that as well. And after it plays, we are going to request you to still interact with the tents there. And there is a cup of tea that I can see outside there. That is for you. Keep networking, keep doing that. National anthem. Thank you so much. You are free to go. Asante sana. There's tea, please. It's not to go, to take tea, to interact as you go at your pleasure. And I think you'll be receiving some gift hampers as well on your way out.